In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to create and use VisGroups or visibility groups. VisGroups are a way to place any object into their own group, which then allows you to display or hide that particular group and all of the objects that you placed inside that group. These objects can include BSP brushes, props, or entities. And VisGroups are one of the best ways to manage your objects and control what you see on screen. It makes working on your map a lot easier, especially when your map begins to expand in size and complexity. Here I have a map where it's beginning to get larger in size. I need to start adding detail, modify BSP brushes, insert props, modify skybox, and optimize. And it's getting very hard to manage with all of these objects that are inside the level. So when I switch over to orthographic viewports, detailing individual sections becomes very difficult. I'm not sure where I'm placing brushes, where the ground plane is, and how to line up everything correctly. So unless I create VisGroups, working on this map becomes very difficult. So to continue working on this, you need to utilize VisGroups. So you can place various sections of your map onto their own VisGroup. So you could hide those sections from being displayed and focus on specific areas of your map. So here on the bottom right, I have a set of VisGroups I already created and placed different sections of this map into those VisGroups. And now, depending on where I'm working on and detailing within the map, I can turn off everything but that section. So let's go through and let's turn off spawns. We can turn off pool area by hiding props, maybe the entire pool area itself. Let's say we're just working on this room and this section of the house. So I have it sectioned off to where we can turn off the backyard, side BSP, driveway, sky, the kitchen section, bedroom, living room, hallway, cars, driveway BSP, glass, and all we are left with is the office section. So now if I go into orthographic viewports, detailing and working on this area becomes extremely simple, and I don't have anything else cluttered, so I can focus just on this room. And VisGroups become a very important part of creating your maps. This is how you organize your level. Let's cover how to create your own VisGroups and how to place your objects into them. Here is the same map without any user VisGroups defined. You will find the visibility groups panel on the right hand side of the editor. Yours may be in a different place because you can control and move these panels around. If you don't see VisGroups panel, go to View, Screen Elements, and make sure to enable Filter Control. By default, Hammer will create visibility groups for you, and you can find them under Auto tab. It sets up visibility groups for entities, world detail, and various brushes, but it does not set up for specific sections of your map, and that we have to do ourselves. And you will see them under User tab. To create and edit VisGroups, click on Edit inside VisGroups panel. You will see automatic VisGroups here, but we want to create our own custom user VisGroup. For that, click on New Group. It will appear right here, and we need to rename it. Under Name, highlight it, and rename the group. Our first item we're going to place is going to be Skybox, these sky brushes. So I'm going to name this Sky. Once you type the name in, you can either close or hit enter. And under User Group, you will see the new VisGroup created. Right now we don't have anything in there because we need to assign an object. We need to do this right away because if a group does not contain any objects, it will be deleted automatically. So in the perspective viewport, double click on the sky brush or any other brush inside the scene. Once you double click on the BSP brush, a menu will pop up for VisGroups, and we want to check sky. This will place the selected brush into that group, and now click apply, close, and if we uncheck sky, it will hide our sky brush. As a side note, This is not how you would create a sky. You don't want to create a cube and surround your entire map inside it. I'm only using this to quickly compile and test the map. Now let's go ahead and create a VisGroup for spawn. We're going to place the buy zone and all of the player spawns into their own VisGroup and then hide it. Let's go to Edit, create a new group, name this group Spawns, and press Enter. Now double click on the buy zones, and any entity or prop will have their own VisGroup tab that you'll have to switch over. And now we can assign the selected object to Spawns VisGroup and click Apply. And we can assign multiple objects by selecting, holding down Control, left clicking to add to selection, and select multiple objects. Then switch over to VisGroup, left click and assign on spawn, put a check mark, and click Apply. And as we do this, we can go ahead and begin to hide what we already placed into a VisGroup. So now all we have left are objects that aren't assigned to a VisGroup. So any entity or prop will have a tab that you'll have to switch over to, and a BSP brush will only have a VisGroup tab. A second way to create VisGroups, instead of opening Edit VisGroups menu, either double click on the BSP brush and choose Edit Groups. This will pull up the same menu, or you can double click on an entity, switch over to VisGroups, and click on Edit Groups. Now let's create a new group and call this Pool, and click Enter. And with an entity selected, left click to check on the VisGroup, click Apply, and now hide that VisGroup. And we will continue to add all of these props and then place them into that VisGroup. You could also assign the same object to multiple VisGroups. So let's say we take this car, go to VisGroups, we can assign it to Pool, Spawns, click Apply, and now we have that single object in both VisGroups. If we want to remove it, double click, go to VisGroups, and uncheck. To rename a VisGroup, go to Edit VisGroups by clicking on the icon in the VisGroups tab, or you can access it from the prop or BSP by clicking on Edit Groups. Then you want to select the group you want to rename, and under Name, change it to a new name, Pool Props, and click Close. If you want to delete a VisGroup, let's go back to Edit VisGroups menu, select the VisGroup you want to remove, and with it selected, click on Remove and close. Deleting your VisGroup will only delete that VisGroup and not any object inside that group. Here I opened up previous version of the map with custom VisGroups already created and each different section of the map placed into it. And here I want to show you a few tips on how to manage your VisGroups categories better. First is the ability to have subcategories. So instead of having a long list of VisGroups, you can have one VisGroup and then place a bunch of other VisGroups underneath it to create subcategories. So for example, we have a house, and for this house I have different set of rooms. I have a kitchen, living room, and it would be helpful if I could place all of these VisGroups as subcategories underneath a main house VisGroup. First, I'm going to create the main VisGroup called House. I'm going to open up Edit VisGroups, create a new group, and name this House. Click Enter. Here's our house category right here. This is now our main VisGroup, under which we can organize other VisGroups and place them as subcategories into House VisGroup. To do this, select the VisGroup, right-click, hold, and drag over the main VisGroup. Let's scroll down And now we have a subcategory, Office, inside the main VisGroup. Let's do the hallway. Right-click, hold, and drag over the house. Bedroom. And we want to right-click, hold, and drag over the house category, so the VisGroup becomes a subcategory under the house VisGroup and not as a subcategory of another subcategory. And let's go ahead and do the same thing to the living room. Right-click, hold, drag over the house. And we have one more, kitchen. Right-click, hold, drag. And now we have house, main category. I can check off the entire house section, or I can check off different rooms. And then you can collapse the main VisGroup to better organize your VisGroups panel. Let's open that back up. If you want to remove a VisGroup from being a subcategory, select it, right-click, hold, and just drag it into the bottom white area. And this will remove the VisGroup from being a subcategory. And make sure you drag the subcategories by right-click, hold, and dragging into this white area in the bottom. If you try to do it anywhere else, it will just take that VisGroup and place it as a subcategory in another VisGroup. Also, you do not have to create an empty VisGroup like we did for the house. You can do this with any already existing VisGroups. If you want to merge VisGroups into one, select the VisGroup, then left-click, hold, and drag into the VisGroup you want to merge with. This will ask you if you want to combine the first group into the second group. And it will keep the name of the second VisGroup or the VisGroup you dragged into. So if we want to combine Backyard BSP and Backyard Props, but we want to keep the name BSP, then we need to left-click and drag Backyard Props over Backyard BSP. But of course, you can always go and edit the name to anything you want. If you want to remove and delete a VisGroup, you can go to Edit and remove it this way. Or a quicker way is to left-click, hold, and drag the VisGroup from the VisGroup tab into the perspective viewport. This will ask you if you want to delete group, and just click yes. Again, deleting or removing VisGroups does not delete the objects placed within that VisGroup. And last few functions, you can move VisGroups in their stack up and down to organize them better by using up or down icons. So select the group you want to move and just move it up or move it down. If you select the group and then click mark, it will select everything inside that group. You can then left click on something else or press escape to deselect. And if you want to show everything inside your map, but you have a few VisGroups hidden, instead of going through and enabling to view the hidden VisGroups, you can just come down on the bottom of VisGroup panel and click on show. This will temporarily show everything inside your map and then disable show to get back hidden VisGroups. So this is a great way to quickly show everything. And the very last thing, VisGroups do control what gets compiled. So if we are only testing this pool area, but we want to hide everything else, go ahead and hide those VisGroups. And then compile your map. So VisGroups are one of the best ways to organize various sections of your map so you can manage and focus on one section at a time, especially when your map gets very complex and large in size.